Hello guys, welcome to Omocha Reviews, and today we're going to review the Hori Pad controller Daemon X Machina for the Nintendo Switch. So for those unaware, Daemon X Machina is a mecha game and it's available in the Nintendo Switch. And Hori, meanwhile, is the Japanese company that creates controllers outside of Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. And Hori is actually well known to be probably the best brand outside of Nintendo in giving custom controllers for the Switch. So as you can see, they are licensed by Nintendo. So I'm gonna open the box here real quick and show you guys the contents of it. And first things first, you're gonna see this massive controller by Hori. But before that, I'd like to just discuss this real quick, the manual. Again, I got the Japanese version of this, so the manual is in Japanese, and I think the only thing I can take away from this is that you can assign controls for specific buttons here. But anyway, let's go down to the controller itself. As you can see, it has a very nice matte and red finish to it. This is mostly inspired from the Daemon X Machina game. And as you can see here, I'm holding it right now, and they are just really big if you compare them to the Joy-Cons. In terms of buttons, you mostly get the same from the Joy-Con. There are some new buttons here, like the Assign and Turbo ones, and there's also a trigger right here behind the Joy-Con. I'm not yet sure what they're for, but I think the manual indicates that you can assign some controls for those buttons to function in the game. And you can also play that game, or you can use those controllers specifically in the Daemon X Machina game, if I'm not mistaken. But you won't be bothering with these guys too much. Overall, you are going to be mostly using the same buttons that you use for in the Joy-Con, so I think there's not much difference there. And mostly you're gonna get this because of the size and the comfort it gives your hands, especially when you're playing long games. As you can see, it's really light. Actually, if you compare this to the Joy-Cons right now here, as you can see, I'm holding the Joy-Cons and they are just really small. I don't even have the biggest hands out there, but my goodness, they are really small. And if I could make a size comparison here real quick, you would see that the Hori Pad is actually twice the size of the Joy-Cons, as you can see right here. There we go. So just holding this thing in place is already a lot more comfortable than holding the Joy-Cons, which, let's face it, is really bad in terms of ergonomic design. And speaking of bad, one of the worst and most infamous parts of the Nintendo Switch are the analog sticks in the Joy-Cons. As if you can see right here, there is a flap here. There is a rubber flap that I'm trying to show you guys right here. Now there is this rubber flap right here can be opened a bit, and dirt and other particles can come in there and basically cause Joy-Con drift. Now if you haven't heard of Joy-Con drift yet, it's basically the game, when you're playing a game, it moves by itself. So it's really hard, especially when you're playing a very competitive game. But if you can see the Hori Pad here real quick, there are no openings for dirt to enter. It's basically encased in plastic. And overall, the analogs feel a lot sturdier compared to the Joy-Cons. Now when you put the Joy-Cons, or when you insert the Joy-Cons, you will hear that clicking sound with the color effect, but you won't get that with the Hori Pad controller. So as you can see right here, there's nothing similar to that at all. It's just, basically just inserting it. But that's really a minor detail, and it doesn't change anything. Now for the next part of the video, I will show you guys here a gameplay of NBA 2K, and 2K is one of those games that demands a lot from the controller. And as you can see here, because the controller of the Hori Pad is significantly bigger, it just feels better holding the Switch. You're gonna feel like you have a lot more control when you're playing games such as 2K and first-person shooter games and other demanding games like Witcher 3, etc. All those guys. And however, there is a caveat here when you're with the Hori Pad controller, and that's you won't get any gyroscope. That's one. So that's already a big deal, especially if you're playing first-person shooter games, which are quite uncommon in the Switch to begin with. And also, you won't get HD Rumble. So HD Rumble is basically when you play the Joy-Cons and there's a rumbling effect for certain parts of the game, so you won't get that. And also, lastly, as you can see here, the Switch is kind of big with the Hori Pad, so Bringing this with you on the go is kind of difficult because of the sheer size of it. And also, you can't stand the Switch anymore if you're someone who does that. Finally, it's important to note that the Hori Pad does not play wireless, so you can only use this in handheld mode for the Switch. For my final thoughts, I would definitely recommend this controller, especially to those who like to play the Switch for long hours in handheld mode at home, regardless if you're a fan of Daemon X Machina or not. Otherwise, it's a great substitute to the Joy-Cons, especially for games that demand a lot from the controller. Still, this won't completely replace the Joy-Cons because the Joy-Cons have features that it doesn't have, such as HD rumble, gyroscope, motion controls, and of course, docked gameplay. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like and subscribe to Omocha Reviews. We'll be making more content on the Switch moving forward. Once again, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.